Elon Musk has revealed some shocking details of Tesla's new plaid carbon-wrapped electric motor and teased an even hotter, higher RPM version that will appear with the next-gen Roadster. Don't forget to watch to the very end for everything we know about Tesla's new impressive motor. Innovative Solutions FTW. Tesla is always in the news for coming up with innovative solutions to solve problems both large or small, and one such instance came about at the Model S Plaid delivery event. Elon Musk spoke about this achievement briefly during his presentation. "Something we're really proud of is the new carbon-sleeved rotors for the motor," he said. "This is the first time that there's, to the best of our knowledge, been a production electric motor that had a carbon overwrap rotor," he added. Elon also went ahead to point out that this was very hard to do since carbon and copper have different rates of thermal expansion. It hence needs to be wound at extremely high tension in order to achieve a carbon overwrap rotor. To achieve this very goal, Elon said that the team had to design the very machine that makes the rotor. This was also a first because no such machine has ever existed before. However, this gives Tesla another new ability, making the electromagnetic field super efficient while having a tight gap even at extremely high revolutions per minute, or RPM. Most advanced on the planet. Elon also added that the Plaid's carbon-wrapped motor is the most advanced motor on the planet outside of a lab right now, and that they have a few ideas for increasing the torque and max RPM even further for the new Roadster. Elon also went ahead to give some more details about how the fiber is wound. It's wound over the rotor at a very high tension load. The machine that wound it was created by Tesla Automation itself, as previously mentioned. Tesla Automation is in Germany and was established in 1983 as Grohmann Engineering. It became Tesla Automation in 2016 and is now headquartered in Prüm, Germany. The question of thermal expansion. The carbon sleeve herein needs to put the copper rotor in compression or it would likely loosen at low temperatures. This is due to the differential thermal expansion. The main benefit of this brand new Tesla motor is that the carbon sleeve rotor creates a much stronger electromagnetic field than a rotor that is held together by metal. Elon pointed out that these are usually made with extremely high-strength steel. Another advantage of such is that the rotor can go to higher RPM, as the carbon sleeve prevents the copper rotor from expanding due to radical acceleration. "I think we've really taken it to a whole new level with Plaid." Elon Musk. Creating a land rocket. When Tesla designed its new carbon-wrapped motors, it basically created a land rocket, the quickest production car on the planet. It can reach speeds of 60 miles per hour in a mere 1.99 seconds, and we can tell you firsthand that it's super intense yet fun. With this new machine and those Tesla secrets, it's clear that Tesla is planning to break its own records. The Tesla Model S Plaid's record acceleration will undoubtedly eventually be broken. And the probability of that record being broken by another Tesla vehicle, Roadster 2.0, is very, very, very high. Main advantage of this is a much stronger EM field compared with a rotor that is held together by metal, usually high-strength steel. Other advantage is that rotor can go to higher RPM, as carbon sleeve mostly stops copper rotor from expanding due to radial acceleration, says Musk in a tweet. Traditional uses of such motors. Unlike what is implied in news reports, carbon fiber wrappings have been long used in high-speed machinery, turbos and compressors and such. Typically, such motors are surface PM motors. The cyan arc thing is the usual permanent magnet located on the very surface of the rotor core. To stop the magnet from flying out at high speeds, the entire rotor is wrapped inside a thin-walled cylinder of some suitable materials. Take heed of the word suitable. There are usually no single best solutions in the motor arena, and rotor sleeves are a particularly nasty example. An even older solution would be to use a non-magnetic metal sleeve, such as titanium or Inconel. This approach has many positives. A metal sleeve is quite strong and has very similar thermal expansion characteristics when compared to the rest of the rotor. The main drawback, though, is that metals are good electrical conductors. As a consequence, strong eddy currents get induced into the sleeve. Like you should be able to guess by now, carbon fiber sleeves are yet another option. Carbon fiber composites are very poor conductors, at least transversely, that is perpendicularly to the fibers, and thus almost free from eddy losses. But on the other side, they are real nasty pieces of work, thermal expansion-wise. Which they don't do, actually. They don't expand at all. The rest of the rotor does, though, meaning the carbon fiber sleeve gets stretched as the rotor goes ahead and expands thermally. And since carbon fiber is, as we scientist engineers say, stiff AF, that expansion generates large stresses onto it. At the same time, the sleeve must still fulfill its purpose even when the rotor goes cold. Remember, it exists to keep the magnets from flying around, meaning it will have to sort of compress the rotor itself to apply enough pressure on the magnets that they stay well attached to the motor. And it has to do this at top speed, plus some margin, meaning it will have to cancel the centrifugal stresses from the magnet mass and its very own mass and still apply net radial force to the magnets. This, in turn, implies that it will put a larger pressure when the motor is stationary, commonly called pre-stressing. All in all, the sleeve must be sized appropriately to survive its own pre-stress, plus the centrifugal forces at top speed, plus the extra forces it will experience from thermal expansion. The carbon-wrapped motor. Wrapping the motor with carbon is not at all as simple as it sounds or looks like. As explained by Elon Musk himself, the concept behind it is that carbon and copper have different thermal expansion. And by wrapping up, the result will be desired thermal expansion. However, it is a difficult job to have the extremely high-intensity wrap on the rotor. As said by Elon, as far as we know, this is the first time there has been a production electric motor with a carbon-coated rotor. This is an extremely difficult thing because carbon and copper have very different rates of thermal expansion. To have a carbon-coated rotor, you need to wrap it with extremely high intensity, and this is extremely difficult to do. And he also replies on a tweet saying, "The plaid carbon-wrapped motor is arguably the most advanced motor on Earth outside of maybe a lab somewhere. We have to keep some secrets. We have a few ideas for increasing torque and max RPM even further for new Roadster. Definitely fun and exciting engineering ahead." And it was interesting to know we have to keep some secrets, meaning Tesla possibly is still working on advancing its technology even further. Yay! Going for higher speeds. For producing the carbon-wrapped motors, Tesla specifically designed a production machine, which is a small, highly efficient engine with a speed of about 60 miles per hour in 2 seconds. It is a small machine that can be held up in your hands but can accelerate a 2-ton car. Furthermore, Elon Musk also talks about going for higher speeds with the carbon wrap. As he mentions about the motor being made by the Tesla production machine, he later adds that the carbon must be wrapped to the motor in compression, so that the carbon wrap doesn't loosen later in the expansion. Main advantage of this is a much stronger EM field compared with a rotor that is held together by metal, usually high-strength steel. Other advantage is that rotor can go to higher RPM, as carbon sleeve mostly stops copper rotor from expanding due to radial acceleration. Clearly, it isn't just that Tesla produced the fastest production car that can fly, but also plans to defeat its very own records, which is when the concept behind their technology plays a huge role. The motor with an electromagnetic field is super efficient, and has very tight gaps at super high revolutions, RPM. Carbon overlap holds it all together. While every other autonomous driving technology company was going for complex LiDAR technology with lasers, Tesla seems to be going for camera-based tech. Their approach has always been quite the same, to make it simple yet effective. Also, their dry electrode coating technology is also another interesting concept, reducing the water consumption of the Giga Berlin factory altogether. But that's a topic for another day. Lastly, all we can say is that it surely seems like Tesla has come up with yet another way to propel their cars even faster. And despite those bashing their vehicles for being completely soulless, if the company can actually pull this off and tangibly improve the Roadster's acceleration and top speed from the originally announced specs, it will be a very impressive feat. With that, we come to the end of this video. Consider subscribing to join in next time for more of such interesting content.